Is that working?
Yeah.
Yep, I can see it.
Lovely. Listen, thank you everybody for taking the time. I know it's a busy time for us, well, for all businesses reopening as we come out of lockdown. So I appreciate everybody listening. I'm just going to this morning give you a talk about sword security in Wales, what we do, what the services we provide, and hopefully anything that we can assist your companies with, or we can do any partnership work with yourselves. So first of all, my name is Jason Hendy. I'm the regional manager for Sword Wales. 31 years ago, I left my hometown of Llandrindod, Wales, and I went to Hendon Police Training Centre in the Met Police. And I did 30 years in policing, 26 years in the Metropolitan Police, and I was fortunate enough to specialise as a detective and work on a number of units, including the Flying Squad, which I'm sure many of you will remember from the TV series. I did about 8 years in the Flying Squad dealing with armed robberies. A special projects team which dealt with the hardest criminals within London. Confidential unit, I did a number of years working on a confidential unit using high-tech devices and other covert policing methods. And I also did on Trident, worked on Trident for a number of years dealing with gun crime. And then for the last 4 years, I moved to Essex Police. And in my last year of service, I was head of organised crime and covert policing for Essex and Kent Police as a detective superintendent. So that's a little bit about my background and where I come from. And I always wanted to come back to Wales and hopefully bring some of the skills and some of the values that, being quite institutionalized, working 30 years in policing, I could bring back to a company. So I saw a job advert for sword security, and I was very mindful that the security industry has, like most companies, has good and bad. But there was a special connection I found with sword security. Actually, its values and culture I could connect with, and for me, it set it apart from other roles that were open coming back to Wales. So I took on the role as the head of security for Wales for Sword. We've been a company which has been operational for about 20 years in the UK and the event sector. And we have a number of, as you can see on the screen, a number of events that we've taken part in, and also some high profile people we work with. So London 2012, I think we all remember the Olympic Games in London. We were one of the main security companies that were in London. Transport for Wales, you can see we are at most of the stations within the South Wales and now North Wales region and West Wales, just making sure passengers are safe getting on the trains, social distancing, masks and crowd management. We also do big events, as in the Principality Stadium, when you can have about 40,000 people coming through Cardiff Central to go to one of the Wales home matches. Glastonbury Festival, we're at Glastonbury Festival every year. Unfortunately, that's not taking part this year. And then you can see Ospreys, we're the official security partner of the Ospreys. And our Irish office, we're at the Irish Rugby Union. We do Connacht Rugby, Leinster Rugby, and a lot to do with the Galway races, or just some of them. So our business is built around top quality of staff to high profile brands. And as I said, we've been in the business for 20 years and won a number of these clients. This selection gives you an indication of the difference and the different countries and cultures that we work with. We provide crowd management, events and risk management and security. So whether that's from a static guard, working at one of the NHS hospitals we cover, or as I've said, working for Transport for Wales. So on a Cat A event in Cardiff, we'll be supplying about 140 staff for that day to, want to say, one of the Wales home rugby matches. So in most recent times, supporting the passengers and clients, as I've said, getting on the train safely and getting them. So as a security company, we've been quite fortunate through the pandemic. So our event industry, nighttime economy, other areas like that we would work in, obviously that's all stopped. So working in Transport for Wales, we've been very fortunate. So the model and systems that we use have been fine-tuned over the last 2 decades. And as you can see, we must be doing something right to retain some of the clients that we have. From state visits, we've done high-profile visits North America. So we've got offices in Canada and America. And also we've done South America as well for the World Cup in Brazil. As you can see, the Olympic Games is there. We did the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. We're hoping to be a big part of the Commonwealth Games next year, which is going to take place in Birmingham. So we're just waiting to find out what we'll be doing within that. And obviously the Pan Am Games you can see on there as well. And North America's sports organisation also includes the NBA, which is attracts some of the highest level of talents in sport, and also the viewing figures and the money that is made through that are huge amounts of money and high profile. We do lots of security around the NBA. And also, as I've said, we do the state visits, the Pope visit to Ireland, sword security, ran all the security around that. So I go back to culture, which for me is quite important. So our culture is making sure our customers and the people that come to events don't really see us, is how I like to best to describe it. We want to greet them, welcome them, make sure they're safe, but they're there to come to enjoy an event. And it's our job to make sure that's done safely, but they leave with a good experience and a positive experience of what they've been to. And I think that's one of our key business models, is that why people ask us to come back, because customers enjoy the event and don't really see what we're doing. We do a lot around customers coming in, making sure how they've enjoyed the event, making sure we get feedback and how we can perform better next time, and go into the detail of where we can do better. Professionalism is obviously a key to our business model. So this is a picture from 2012 Olympic Games. This is the pool, and this is just a picture of some of the staff. I don't know whether we all remember, but G4S was one of the big sporting security companies that were run in 2012. And they pulled out on the last day. They were unable to get as many staff as there. So I think we had to deploy over 100 staff on top of what the staff were already providing. So at this time, I was working in Newham, the borough of Newham, which was where it hosted the Olympic Games in Newham. So it's quite interesting to see that the full circle that I've done was working in a borough of Newham when the Olympic Games was, and sword played such a big part in it, to come back now to be part of sword security. So this shows some of our quality systems. Obviously, we're an SIA approved contractor, and other certificates showing we maintain and deliver a high quality service. And also this is now that we've signed up to the real living wage, making sure we pay our staff a salary they deserve for the services they provide. So I think the living wage is something we're really proud of, being part of actually paying our staff a wage which they can live on. We all know there's been companies that haven't actually paid their staff what they should be paying them. But I think it's really important that we're part of that. And I think as we all come out of lockdown, I think things will change in the entertainment industry. And I think also some of you might have listened to the event on the other night by the Chamber of Wales. And it was really interesting listening to some of the people debating there, talking about attracting staff. Staff have been used to not working till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning on a Friday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. They've been used to now having days at home and having a different quality of life. So I think that's going to be really important for how companies sort of attract people to come and work for them. So living wage is really important. And I think it's important for other companies to look at how we pay our staff and how we reward our staff. Because we all need our staff to work at these events so people can enjoy them. So I think that will be one of the challenges that come out at the end of lockdown, and about how things, I think, will be different with what we see. We're also a Highfield approved training centre, so we run courses in-house, as in SIA. We're also running a level 2 certificate in the next couple of weeks around crowd safety. So some of you will see on the news some of the fallout from the Manchester Arena event, where I think training will definitely come out of that, about how possibly some of the staff there, and I think that Manchester Arena could have happened to any company. It's no blame on any company that was there at that time. The government and the SIA will be making sure companies within the security industry investing in their staff and making sure that they're up to date, especially around terrorism and other similar things, which put obviously the tragic event that happened in Manchester. The other thing we're in Wales is actually the reinvestment of what we can do in Wales and what we can do in sport. So in Wales, we're a proud partner of Cardiff City Women's Football Club, one of the UK's top female teams. Women's sport around the world has been underfunded, and Sword Security are happy to help in our small way to level this playing field. We're also fortunate to provide staff in the Ingria Stadium in Dublin, which is the home of the Irish Rugby women's team, and also that hosts the Irish Women's Olympic qualifier games as well. So it's giving back to the communities we work in. I think is another one of the main business models in Sword. It's reinvesting in the staff. They're our biggest asset. So we're keen on providing training. We've done suicide awareness training. We've done training with British Transport Police around vulnerabilities. I think it's a part of the transport network. You see a lot of vulnerable people. We all see on the news about county lines, about big cities in England sending young vulnerable people within the transport network to come into Wales to supply drugs. There's been a couple of serious violence incidents, a couple of murders that have happened in Cardiff recently, which is all around county lines and the exploitation really of these young vulnerable people. So investing again in our staff to try and identify and work with British Transport Police is a model that is working really well. And we work very closely with British Transport Police, South Wales Police and Dyfed-Powys Police, and more recently now we're working in North Wales, especially around the holiday seasons and the new, hopefully we're going to see a lot of people coming into Wales for their holidays, and transport network will be really important about making sure we get them people to where they want to go on holiday safely. So our clients' perspective of our services, as you can see on your screen, these are a few of what our clients have said from the Papal Visit, Connacht Rugby, Live Nations, the Olympic Games, Transport for Wales, Volvo Ocean Race, and obviously Glastonbury as well. We've retained some of the same clients for over 20 years. Again, the range and depth of our clients' references are fantastic, as you can see. So Sword in Wales. As I've already said, we are the main security provider for the Ospreys, which is, as a big rugby fan, which is one of the highlights of my working week, is dealing with the Ospreys and being able to see some of the rugby matches, although we welcome back the crowds I think we're all welcoming back crowds to events over the next few months. And I think as we come out of lockdown and things are starting opening up, there's some really key dates that are coming forward. The 17th of May, where the entertainment industry and nighttime economy will be open indoors as well as outdoors as it is presently. And if you look at England, they're looking at that date to have football crowds back in, 4,000 people out events. I think if you look in Wales, there's a number of events planned now for the summer, as we see the numbers fall of COVID and the great sort of work that the NHS done around providing vaccines, etc. At the moment, the figures are looking really positive. And I think it isn't a time for Wales to be excited about what's going to happen over the next few months, and for businesses to seek what opportunities there are to engage with communities and other business partners as we come out of lockdowns. It's been a really difficult 12 months for everybody. So I'm very optimistic about what we're going to see in the summer. I think safety will be paramount. People need to feel safe. But I think we've already seen, if you look at Cardiff, the numbers that have come up into Cardiff over the last week and a bit, since the pubs have opened up on Monday, and also the high streets have opened. People are beginning to come back. The train systems are a lot busier. And I've also found, even going into work in the mornings, I'm happy to be sitting in traffic jams again, which we hadn't seen for a long time. So that's really us from Sword Security. Obviously, if you need any questions, assistance or advice, please get in contact with me. And thank you for listening to me talking about Sword Security.